So the for those of you that have never opened Rhino, just like any other software, you have a shortcut. Double click on it. It will take a little bit of time, and then you get this screen. Now, for architecture in Europe, we are going to work with large meter objects all the time. It is just more convenient, you know. When you manage your project, you need to have less units to be accountable for. Like, for instance, if you have a project and you wanna measure everything in centimeters, you're gonna have very large numbers in your viewport, and you're gonna have very large amounts also. Okay. So this is just a very simple introduction to the interface of Rhino. I'm not gonna do anything, so just focus on what I'm doing so that you know what we are looking at. This is our 3D space. Some people call it 3D canvas. It doesn't matter. But for you to know, this is what everything happens. Okay? Now you have a perspective view, which is actually where you can see your model in 3D. And then you have the, so to say, orthographic views, where you can look at your project from the top, from the front, from the right, and you can actually personalize this. Like, for instance, say that you want to change the view from the right to the view from the left. You simply have to right click, go to set view, and say left. Now, this won't make any change because at the moment we don't have anything to look at. Okay? Now, I'm just going to drop a very simple object inside the scene so that we know what we are looking at. Don't worry about the command that I'm going to use. We're gonna go over these commands again later. So I'm just gonna make a small box. I'm gonna change the shading mode. Let me just go through the whole thing. Then I stop the recording and you can ask questions, okay? Otherwise you have to listen to me twice. Everything that I'm doing, I'm gonna repeat, so don't worry about it. I'm just putting some geometry so that you know what we are looking at. There we go. So now I have this object. If you see here, I got the left view, right view, set view, right, and now this changes. Here I'm looking at my model in the front. Here I'm looking at my model from the top. Now, how does the navigation in this view, in this 3D environment works? In the 3D perspective, if I double click on this little tab, I can maximize it. With the right click, I can orbit. With the right click and the shift, I can pan. And with the right click and the control, or Steuerung in German, I can zoom in and out. You can also zoom in and out with the mouse wheel. And it's point-based. That means that if I put my mouse cursor up here, it's gonna zoom about that place. Okay? So very often if I'm working and I wanna be fast, instead of panning, I just zoom away and zoom to other places. Okay? So I can move very fast on my project in that way. This is everything that you need to know about the 3D view for now. Now, up here on the left, this bar, I don't need to have it here. This is T-spline. I can just hide it somewhere. Now, when you're gonna open Rhino, Rhino's gonna pop out with this standard toolbar on the left. And this is where all your curves, solids, trimming, Boolean operations happen. You know, like moving and scaling and duplicating objects. You can do it by accessing these tools up here. Now, the beautiful thing of Rhino is that you can access tools also by inputting the type of command that you want. Now, with the time, you're gonna learn all these commands by heart, and your workflow is gonna become super fast. But for now, maybe you wanna keep these in as a reference for you to do any type of operations. We're gonna look at this bar in more depth in a while, okay? Up here, you have subfolders of these toolbars. So if I click here, you can access the C-plane, you can access the set view, and you can actually take these bars and dock them at the place of this one in case you need it. As far as I'm concerned, um, I usually use only this one here, and I don't need to expand anything because all the commands that I need, I know them by heart, and I'm gonna show them to you so that you will be able to learn them also by heart. And 85% of the time, you're only gonna use those ones. Okay. Then you have the display, select, viewport layout, visibility, transform, curve tools, and so on and so forth. You can just explore them. I guarantee you that most of the time we're gonna only work with the standard one. Now, if you go on the right, this is actually something that you can undock. You find the property bar. Now, the property bar gives you informations such as which type of geometry you're looking at, the position of it. You can also dock some box edit mode. I'm gonna show it to you later. So that you have an understanding of what you're looking at. Like, for instance, if now I click this element with the left mouse button, you're gonna see which type of geometry it is. It's a closed extrusion, to which layer it belongs, which display color it uses, and you can also see, well, in this case it's not switched on, but you can also see which type of material this element has. Eventually, what you can do, you can also have other toolbars docked one after the other. In this case, we have the layers one, we have the display one. I never use this one because I can access all the display tools from up here, and it's to me a little bit faster. And the help bar, which I usually close because I really don't need. Okay. Now let's move to the bottom of the interface. Now down here, what you have is the bottom menu bar where you can access all the snapping options, the drawing options, the smart track, the gumball, and the record history tool, which I'm also going to show you later. It's a tool with which we can have a lot of fun. Now, what does the grid snap do? Imagine that you're working on a highly technical drawing and you have all the measurements already set by your grid. You can use the grid snap to snap your line to a specific point on the grid. You see? All the points are actually snapping on the grid. In architecture, you probably will never use this option. So I'm gonna switch it off. The ortho mode, which allows you to draw in ortho mode. Eventually this ortho you have to be careful because if you have snaps that override the ortho mode, the line won't stay straight, okay? There are other techniques that we are going to look into depth later to improve the way you draw. I'm gonna switch off the ortho mode. I don't really like to use it. There is another technique that I use which I think works better and it's a little bit more dynamic. Then you have the planar mode. We will have to explain this a little bit later. You have the all snap, so basically the object snap. You have the possibility to snap your geometry to given points, like for instance the end, near point, a point itself, middle, center, an intersection, a perpendicular point. Let's take a look at this. Let's say that I have two lines which are intersecting. Now I can snap to the end, near, let me switch off the smart track, I can snap to the intersection, I can snap to the middle, and if I have a geometry like a circle, I can snap to the center. Okay, so now I have a snap point in the center. And then we have the gumball, which is a very useful tool, especially if we are working on the first stage of design. The gumball allows you to select the geometry, you find it down here, and to modify it dynamically. So I can turn stuff, I can scale it. We're gonna look at the gumball also in depth a little bit later. Then you have this record history, which is a fantastic tool to create semi-parametric systems. So like for instance, if I'm now going to record the history on this extrusion, we're gonna look at this a little bit into depth later. Okay, sorry, I got interrupted because F10 stops the recording, but basically what I want to do now that I've recorded the history, if I switch on the points, I can take this geometry, I can move it, and my extrusion will follow. So basically, by controlling the line itself, I can modify the extrusion. Okay, we're gonna look at this mode a little bit better later. There's going to be an entire lesson only about this. Now, this is everything that I wanted to show you about the interface. In the next session, we're gonna look at how selecting, manipulating objects, creating very basic objects, and I'm gonna explain you how the metric system inside of, well, actually not the metric system, but the measurement system, sorry, inside of Rhino works. Okay, so I'm just going to delete this stuff, stop the recording,